You can see how he's celebrating, folks. Your 2021 East Coast International Pro Stock Tour champion, Craig Slomwhite.
What a burnout that was. Welcome into Tim's Corner Live, episode number 35. Didn't get on the air last week, Dylan. Me, you, and Denver had some other things to take care of. Busy triple header weekend before that. Craig Slomwhite going to Victory Lane, winning that Pro Stock Tour title. And we've had Craig on the show a couple of times. We're going to talk to Craig throughout the offseason, I'm sure. We got some champions to talk to as well throughout the offseason. It's going to be a busy couple of months here on Tim's Corner Live. So we decided last week to take a little bit of a pause and then get back into it. We're going to get back into it tonight in a big way with the folks at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. But Dylan, how was your Thanksgiving?
Why did you just not acknowledge my Toronto Maple Leafs jersey? How dare you on opening night for the team?
Okay, that is a nice. That's I don't know. Are they going to win? Who are they playing?
They're playing the team that lost the Stanley Cup.
I mean, technically, there were 30 teams that lost the Stanley Cup, right?
Yeah,
including yours.
True. Anyways, I had a great Thanksgiving. It was nice having weekend off, of course. Shame that the Atlantic Championships couldn't go ahead at Shediac Center for Speed, but I've started doing some hockey announcing with the South Shore Lumberjacks, so it's like hockey and racing season are kind of blending in here. But we got some fun on the dirt coming up this weekend, and yeah, I mean, what a triple header there. We had the championship race at Scotia Speed World. It was so cool to see Craig Slomwhite win the championship for the East Coast International Maritime Pro Stock Tour. That crowd loved them from Craig Slomwhite. That was the loudest I've ever heard Scotia Speed World get for one driver. It was so cool. And then we had some fun on the dirt the next day after, and we saw Matt Burgoyne get another win in the modified division. A lot of fun racing. We're going to wrap it up this Sunday.
Yeah, and Miramichi got their big race in with the very best fall. Should have took a little time to get through tech, but congratulations to Logan Power on the win on that one. Scotia Speed World with TCM finale Friday. Lake Doucette had their final point race on the Sunday. It was a busy first weekend in October, and then last week kind of a reverse situation. Condolences to the Weil family. Hope they're doing well with their loss, and looking forward to seeing them again in 2022. But busy weekend with two races coming up. This one, I know, by the way, South Shore Lumberjacks, didn't they play a game last week?
Yeah, they beat Yarmouth 6-1.
No, the other game that they played.
Oh, yeah. Something about the ref. Ref doesn't know how to use his whistle, and they let the Bearcats score was 0.0 on the scoreboard.
Oh, hold on. This is just sinking in. You said they beat Yarmouth.
They beat Yarmouth.
Okay. So you might not be welcome this weekend at Lake Doucette? I know you're announcing at Valley anyway, but you wouldn't be welcome there anyway, right? It's a big Yarmouth crowd.
Yeah, I know. It's just we'll see how they square up again. I know the South Shore is back in Yarmouth on Sunday, actually, right after the races. So if you're at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, you can fly down to Yarmouth and go see the Mariners against the South Shore Lumberjacks.
That might have to end up doing that if that
Yeah.
happens. I mean, I have no bias in between the two, so I might have to go enjoy some great hockey. But nevertheless, big show coming up. And by the way, too, want to thank Robbie Thompson and the folks from Robbie Thompson Racing, Braden Langell, Megan, Sam Rogers, Michelle, Dakota, Georgia. We had a great time at Peterborough Speedway this weekend.
Yeah, he went to Ontario, went to Upper Canada.
Yeah, Autumn Colors Classic is a great event. If you've never been, I've been there twice now. 10 years ago, obviously with our schedule down here, it's kind of hard to go up with everything kind of quiet. Had the opportunity to go up on a road trip. So thank you to Robbie and thank you to the whole crew up there. Had an absolute blast. Had a great time. Racing was great. And I got to announce the legend car race. And obviously the Ricky Bobby was supposed to be this weekend. It's Speedway 660 and kind of the tale of two provinces, I guess, Dylan, because Ontario allowed 100% capacity. The place is absolutely plugged with people. And with the other side, with COVID restrictions, the Ricky Bobby 150 not happening. It'll happen in spring 2022. But Dylan, the good news for that one, before we move on to Lake Doucette, the good news for 660, 2 Ricky Bobby 150s next year, 1 in the spring and 1 in the fall. So street stock teams have something to really be excited about. All that person this year rolls over to next year. So probably early to late May, maybe June, we're going to have a $15,000 purse for a street stock race. That's going to be huge for that division at the start of the year.
And that's actually kind of cool. I mean, of course, it's bittersweet that the race isn't happening this weekend with the COVID situation in New Brunswick. And condolences to any family over there. It's been a really tough go in New Brunswick lately. But that being said, you got a race that potentially could set you up for a really, really good 2022. It'd almost be like winning the Daytona 500. You win that race, you get all that prize money. I mean, that's going to certainly help your team a long way. So that's going to be pretty neat to see 2 Ricky Bobbies. They'll have to come up with some cool marketing for that, like part 1, part 2, whatever they want to do. So that's again, a shame it's not going to happen this weekend, but at least they have a plan to have it happen next year.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great time up there. And thoughts are with everybody in the province of New Brunswick as they get through their stage of the COVID-19 pandemic and everything that goes on. But coming up, we're going to talk Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. It's their fun day, their fan appreciation day coming up on Sunday. We're going to speak with Ed LeBlanc a little bit later on, driver in the late model Sportsman division. We'll have the president on the show, JP Arsenault, in the second half of the third portion of this show. But before we get to that, no, by the way, Brandon Campbell is joining us.
He's here.
He's here. He's just not on the call. I haven't kicked him yet. But we'll bring in our first guest, and it's a guy that's been really busy this season. It's not that one, Paul. There you go. Let's change this one. There we go. Driver of the number 94 on the Passion Flooring and Interiors East Coast Mini Stock Tour, and the driver of the number 53 at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. And Dylan, as long as he keeps it on all 4 wheels, he's pretty quick. It's JJ MacPhee. JJ, welcome to the show. Good to have you, and good. Thank you for taking some time out on a Wednesday night for us.
Thank you.
So let's look forward to this coming weekend. Are you guys going to be at the racetrack this weekend? What's your schedule like? Are you done for the year? Because I know you guys have done a lot of traveling. There's still a couple of big races left. Are you guys done for the year? Or are we going to do one more?
No, we're coming out on Sunday and hopefully put a good show on for the fans. And we're supposed to bring Hondas, but Shea ended up blowing his motor at Scotia the last East Coast mini stock race.
So what are you going to be driving then? Are you going to be driving a Cavalier again?
I might be driving the 53 Sunfire or the 94 Honda. We're not sure yet.
Well, I mean, I guess you can't do both because they're both in the 4-cylinder race, right?
No, Dad might drive one, or who knows yet, I guess.
So I guess at that point, what do you have choice of car, or does Steve have choice of what weapon he uses on Sunday?
I definitely have choice.
So I guess we'll start at the back, because you're a part of the MacPhee family. Rich history at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway and in Yarmouth. We'll start with your racing career. How did you get your start in racing?
Well, about 7 years ago, Dad bought a Sportsman to race at Lake Doucette. So then we all went to watch, and he crashed his first race and destroyed the car. And we rebuilt it. He raced the following race day. And then the following year, we got Mom into it. And then 2 years later, Shay got into it. And then I become 16, and I got old enough to do it. So they bought me a car and I started racing.
And that was only a few years ago now, right?
This was my third season.
And you come on and really pretty much hit fire in the first couple of seasons. Rookie of the Year, I believe, in 2019. Picked up a couple of wins, and it just rolled on from there. And then obviously the pandemic happened, kind of slowed everything down. This was a big year for you. Let's talk about the Passion Flooring and Interiors East Coast Mini Stock Tour. Obviously the schedule, absolutely all over the place. But you got to some of those racetracks that, it's a long haul from Yarmouth. So the East Coast Mini Stock Tour, what are your takeaways from this first season?
Oh, it was fun. It was frustrating not being able to get to Fredericton for the points race up there, but I loved going to PEI and Petty. Petty was a blast, and I thought it was a great season. Hopefully next year's better.
And looking at that schedule, obviously you raced at home, you raced at PEI. For your first time in Prince Edward Island, what did you think of that racetrack?
That was a different ball game. Being the chosen groove, the outside was weird. That was a different one.
Now, coming up the road to Scotia Speed World, I guess we'll step back to last year with the COVID-19 pandemic. Scotia ran a couple of races, really no points, but you ended up walking away with a checkered flag and a trophy in the Thunder Car division. What do you remember about that night, getting that win at Scotia?
Oh, it was great. I battled with Dave all night, and he ended up taking second or third gear out of his car, and then we just kind of walked away and ended up winning the race.
For a younger driver like yourself, and we talk about these Bandolero kids moving up into, late models and pro stocks and what have you, and, the Ashton Tuckers and the Ryan Messers going up against those, Sean Tuckers and John Flemings and all those big names in the sport. But you just mentioned one in Dave Matthews that has been around the block a few times. What's it like racing not only in the East Coast Mini Stock Tour, but even when they come down to Lake Doucette or you go to Scotia, racing against guys like, Dave Matthews and Jason Pickles and those guys have been around for a few years?
Oh, it's totally different compared to here when you're racing. There's most of the guys that race down here are 20 and 30 that only been racing for a couple of years. So it's totally different seeing how they run and all the different setups that they got in their cars. It's mind-blowing.
We are live and interactive here this evening as well. Drop us a question or a comment for JJ. And actually, Dylan, I forgot to let Brandon in the room. So
yeah, he's been pestering me. But
why is he pestering you?
I don't know, but I'll go to Facebook here. Since
you go ahead. You get her done.
Yeah, well, I'll ask a question just because Brent's always here. Brent Patterson's always here with us on TCM Live. And one of his main questions is always your worst wreck, but he's getting right to it. I don't know if we got a tip off of who's going to be here. JJ, one of our guests here that's watching, is wondering about any rollovers you've had. And you had quite the rollover when Tim and I were down there this summer in that Sunfire. Can you take us back of what happened? It was under caution, and were you trying to catch up to the field and something broke? What happened with that Sunfire?
Well, we battled with brakes all day, and we finally got them to where we thought we fixed them. And then I went back out there in the second heat and hit the wall in corner one while I was leading, and it ended up caution coming out. So I went back. I went in the pits and put the hood back down and went back out, and I was trying to catch up to the field, and the brakes let go going down the back stretch, and I just went over.
I've heard a lot of drivers mention they've had that scare in like a Sportsman where it's downhill and then looks like it's kind of going uphill like a roller coaster. What was the first thought when you put your foot to the brake pedal and it goes right down?
Hold on. There's not a whole lot you can really do except hope for the best.
Was it a big impact for you? I know there's a lot of tires down there at Lake Doucette, but it still had to hurt a little bit, right?
I ended up hitting the end of the guardrail, just clipped that, so that helped slow me down. So when I finally did hit the tires and fetch up and roll, it wasn't totally dramatic, I guess.
I remember because I didn't actually see it happen. I heard the sound and the fans gasping, and then seeing your car land on the roof there. Got to be a pretty weird feeling being upside down, right?
Oh, it was definitely a different feeling than when I crashed and rode off a car a couple of years ago, because you're hanging upside down and everybody's screaming at you not to undo your seatbelt. And yeah, it was a weird feeling.
We'll get to some good times here. To kind of go back to your race at OBS, Colin Brewer, who's an island racer, he's wondering what happened with you and your brother Shay in turn one at OBS.
It's a great topic to get on. I don't know exactly what happened, just racing, and I tried to get on the outside of him, and we got together, and thank God there's the pit exit, and he ended up going into that and not clipping the wall.
Tim, I know you're going to get a chuckle out of that one.
Yeah, I mean, the sibling rivalry, the family rivalry, it's kind of friendly, isn't it, JJ? But at the end of the day, when you strap your helmet on, you want to win the race, right?
Oh, definitely going out there to beat him and everybody else out there, but sometimes it don't happen, and you know it's him in front of you, so you think he'd give you the lane, or I'd give him the lane, so it's hard to judge sometimes.
Absolutely, and we were showing a little bit of the B-roll on the screen of the rollover. By the way, thank you to Frankie Kroll for all the photos that we used here tonight. There's going to be plenty that you're going to see throughout the evening. But first of all, that was your mother's car, right?
Yes, it was.
So what kind of grief did Tam give you when you went back to the pits with that car that really wasn't rolling very far?
Well, she was kind of glad because she thought we weren't going to fix it and go back and race in that class again. So she never thought much until we started to fix it. Then she got a little bit mad at us.
Because you told everybody that day it's done. It's not coming back. It's not being straightened. It's going to the scrap heap. And then all of a sudden, Dylan, I think I mentioned to you when we were leaving Speed Weekend on the Sunday or doing something on the Sunday that I was like, JJ won a race at Lake Doucette. And I look at the photos and it's the same car. So what was the thought process behind that, JJ, of getting that car back to the racetrack? And not only back to the racetrack, back to Victory Lane.
Well, Isaac Camo called me out before I rolled over. So he kept hounding me, come back, fix it, come back. So Dad said, let's fix it. So we fixed it and went back and beat him.
There you go. Easier said than done, especially with that division that's down there, though. I want to talk about that class because you started racing a couple of years ago, and the division has kind of changed in leaps and bounds. It used to be a men's and a women's division. Now it's all together, and you're looking at, 16, 18, 20 cars on a good day. What's the competition like for those that haven't been down to Lake Doucette? Because I know we've got a lot of fans and a lot of drivers, and Lake Doucette's on their radar, kind of circled on their calendar. But talk about the division down there because it's a very tight division with a lot of good competition, right?
There's plenty of fast cars. There's the 3, the 51, the 69. There's the 54. There's Douglas Towns, and there's lots of fast cars down there to compete with, and they're always super fast, so it's always a challenge, and it's fun, and I love it.
And especially when you have to drive through that traffic, there's a couple of good passing points on that racetrack, but if you're in the middle of the pack, how do you navigate to get towards the front of the field at Lake Doucette?
Well, I love the outside at every track, so most people try and stick to the inside, and they'll get pushed down into the dirt. And I just love going out and driving around, trying to drive around them. And then once you get up to the front and they're faster cars, you have to pass on the inside.
And a completely different racetrack than anything else in the Maritimes. But I guess it can be said for all the other tracks that are around here as well. Do we ever get a Brandon Campbell on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. I've been here the whole time.
You've sort of been here the whole time. I know you've been excited to try to get to Lake Doucette. So what do you have for question-wise for one of the best drivers that are down there?
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with this. First of all, Kyle Boudreaux's my favorite. You can have second in my heart, but Kyle Boudreaux is my favorite so far. But me and Cale Burkhart were thinking of maybe taking a trip down this Sunday. I haven't been there. The track looks wild. But, yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned about how the series is and it's getting better. But is there anything you could think of that would make that series maybe grow a little more, or improvements on it maybe?
Not really off the top of my head. It's maybe make a couple rule changes to let more Scotia cars come, or add a weight rule or something to bring everybody a bit closer and fairer, but nothing off the top of my head that I can think of to make that class grow much more than it has in the past couple of years.
maybe move the track like a couple 100 kilometers closer to everything would help.
Not for
That would
not
definitely help.
not for people that live down there, Brandon.
But for people like me that want to go.
True. Move to Nova
Also,
Scotia.
side note, Dylan, I love the jersey.
Thank you. Man of style, I see here.
Okay, well, here's the important question. Favorite hockey team, Mr. McPhee?
Boston Bruins.
Okay, yeah, I got to go back to work.
Ooh.
The Yarmouth Mariners, I thought, would have been the answer to that.
Well, since COVID started, I haven't been able to go, so it's kind of fallen off the radar, I guess.
And
I'll say, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, because I know you got something on the tip of your tongue.
I was just going to say, I'll segue this a little bit. Other than race car stuff, what do you usually do in the off season? What's there to do down in Yarmouth?
Not a lot other than hunting and fishing and lobster fishing, especially. Not a lot, really, I guess.
So when the car is not being worked on in the shop, we can find Joe catching lobster?
Definitely not me.
I guess we're not going to his house, Tim.
Haven't you been doing some, is it fishing tournaments? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of fishing tournaments this summer. Every weekend that we're not gone racing, I'm in a fishing tournament normally.
So how do you balance that between going fast and trying to wrangle some fish up?
Oh, I don't even know. It's a total different ball game from going 130 kilometers an hour to sitting on the water, throwing a bait in the lake all day.
Absolutely, completely different. Now, I kind of want to segue to this because we're going to ask JP a little bit later on as well. But this is the fun day. So you kind of mentioned the Honda being in the field. I believe usually all the 4-cylinder cars together on fun day. They usually do a couple of other races as well. So for those that might be sitting around at Scotia Speed World, or maybe across the Bay of Fundy there in St. John and Fredericton, knowing that their season is over and they have their vaccines, why should they make the trip down to Lake Doucette this weekend?
Well, from what I've heard, and JP will probably touch on this a little bit later, there's supposed to be money for the Sportsman race. I don't know how much or what's involved. There's talk of it being a 50-lapper or 75, depending on if any Scotia or New Brunswick cars decide to come down. Other than that, it's fun day. I'm not sure if we're doing rides around the track with people or not. We'll see, I guess, what Sunday brings.
And I know Kayla Burkhart and Brandon mentioned this, that they might be making a haul down. Now, I don't think they're coming across the ferry, though that might be an option. Brandon loves taking boats to racetracks, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't have to take my own to Yarmouth, right? I can get on somebody else's and cross.
Yes, okay.
Pretty much. Ryan would be confused, so
you may as well take the either his street stock or does your 4-cylinder car run?
It runs, it doesn't move, but it turns on now. That's a start.
Well, that's a start. You can roll down the back straightaway. I don't know what you're going to do when you get to turn 3.
I'll just get Mr. McPhee here to push me around the track.
He's going to be going too fast for that. I see Scott Williams is watching, and I know you guys. One of those Hondas used to be the Scott Williams Honda that I believe, and he's going to correct me if I'm wrong, that he rolled down the front straightaway on Fun Day. Had to be about 5 or 6 years ago now. What's it like getting those Hondas from Scott? Because I know he knows a thing or two about those things going fast.
Oh, he definitely knows what he's doing about going fast, because when he brought Darren Fleming is my cousin, and he come down with his Honda, and he went up against the stock V8 class in a 4-cylinder and ended up getting spun on the front stretch, and he rolled. And yeah, it was just a heck of a day, and he knows what he's talking about. I know that for sure.
And that was the day that it wasn't even the Darren started the day, and Darren raced the 4-cylinder class, yeah. and Scott said, I'm going to go against the V8s, and Scott was beating some of the V8s, and I think they might have got they got a little bit hurt, I think, with that. Yeah.
He was probably going to win the race because he started dead last and made 2 or 3 passes to start the race, and I guess one guy didn't like it, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but ended up spinning them and rolling.
I want to get Scott on one of these shows during the winter, just to shoot the breeze a little bit, because I think that would be a great conversation. Not only that one, but all his knowledge in this sport. But looking forward to this weekend. Besides having fun, taking a checkered flag, what are your thoughts heading into Sunday's race?
Well, Sunday's race, I guess, is just all about being a part of it with the fans and showing how much we appreciate them coming out and showing them all the support that they deserve from going through COVID and going through all the crap about getting the tickets. And I don't know, it's just going to be a fun day, I guess.
And I know Gail had said somewhere up here too in the comments, best fans in the business. And Dylan, I've known it for a long while. It's I don't want to say it's one of the best kept secrets in maritime racing, but it's a little bit out of the way, as Brandon mentioned, compared to the rest of these racetracks. But your first time, Dylan, at Lake Doucette was earlier this year, and you got a taste of what those fans are like.
Yeah, and I got a taste during a pandemic. Like, I can't imagine when that place can run 110 capacity. Really, that place could be. I've seen video of how it's been packed and the passion of the fans. If you're a racing fan, if you can't get here this weekend, make sure you book a weekend in 2022 to come to Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. Number one, great seafood. That part of Nova Scotia. I mean, some of the best of the best, really. And then you've got such a unique racetrack where a little TikTok video I did went kind of viral. So maybe you saw it on TikTok, Tim Size. It's just a great time. And yeah, the fans, like you see, there'll be the MacPhee section, and there'll be this driver section and this driver section. And it's just so cool. It's kind of like a Formula One race where you see in the stands, like the Ferrari fans are all together, McLaren are all together. It's kind of like that, actually.
Yeah, it's surreal, I guess. There's always lots of fans. The Riverside 100 that we had there a couple of years back, there was the stands were loaded with probably 1,600 people. The pits were stogged full. That was a great day. And we were trying to have another one this year, but with COVID restrictions going on and not being able to get all the fans there, we just decided to try and have a little race here on Fun Day. And they extended the season 2 races, because normally we stop mid-September or so. So, yeah, hopefully next year we can get full capacity and have a couple big race days.
JJ, for a driver who has never raced Lake Doucette and maybe they want to go out this Sunday, what basic tips can you give them when they bring either their 4-cylinder or maybe a Sportsman car? I know you don't drive Sportsman. Maybe your dad has given you a few tips.
Definitely bring your big boy pants, because that backstretch can be wild going down there. There's a couple of guys at Scotia that said they wouldn't come because it's too fast for them, but I think everybody should come and try it once at least, because it's a fun track, and I don't know, just going around it is amazing compared to most places we go to, because it's the most speed, and other than Riverside, it's probably the fastest track.
What's the top speed you've reached there?
It's hard to say because we don't technically have a speedometer that works, but in the Honda's probably 135 to 140 kilometers an hour. And I know Dad's getting up in his Sportsman around 160, 165.
And I guess to kind of compare, let's compare Scotia Speed World. How fast do you figure you're getting going towards turn 1 or turn 3?
At Scotia, we're probably, I don't know if we'd be 100 going in Scotia.
So that's almost like you're going double the speed almost down that backstretch to turn 3 at Lake Doucette.
It feels like it. If corner 1 wasn't so sharp, you could definitely get a lot more speed going down the backstretch. But for corner 1, you got to slow down so much. So it's so hard to get the speed built up. But once you get going down the hill, it really moves.
One more for me, Tim, and then we'll throw it back to you. And I'm just thinking about this because of the video I made. JJ, is it Lake Doucette or Lake Doucette?
Hard to say because some French people say it different than English people, but I always say Lake Doucette. But some people say Lake Doucette, some people say Lake Doucette. I'd say both, honestly.
All right, that's a good answer, Tim.
I can't, she's not on the call and I can't hear her. She's no longer part of our crew, but I can hear Brittany Hoyt correcting you in the background. Laura Ann says the second one. I believe it's Doucette. That's what I was always told by Gaston. So that's what stuck with me. Jordan Vino is in the comments, says that's the one place I want to go, but not this year. He's going to have to get that Sportsman car ready to go because I think Jordan would do really well down there. I did get a text message from Robbie Thompson as well. He is watching, says I need more Monster. I haven't got a whole lot of sleep, Dylan, after the last couple of days, but it's we had a good time up there anyway. I'm really looking forward to Lake Doucette on the weekend, but before we talk about, this weekend, I want to talk about next year and looking down the road, JJ, because I know you guys got a Sportsman car. You got a bunch of Hondas, bunch of 4-cylinders. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see yourself in a Sportsman car? Do you see yourself, maybe looking towards a pro stock? Where do you see you and the team in the next 5 years?
I would check pro stock right off the list. No, because there's just no way we'd be able to do that. But I'd love a Sportsman, and there's a lot of people that want me in a Sportsman, but mom and dad they want me to get a career going before I worry about getting in a Sportsman and costing a lot of money and stuff. So hopefully in 5-10 years, I'll be able to drive one.
Is dad just concerned about, you beating him every week and maybe taking his seat away?
Probably.
I know there's a couple of people that are getting a little bit longer in the tooth, but you can remind Steve that Willard is still racing at 76, right?
Oh, Willard does great at 76 in the stock V8. And I don't know, Mom probably won't let Dad race that long, but we'll see what happens.
So is Mom ever coming back behind the wheel? By the way, she helped us tonight get hooked up, so thank you to Tam for that. But is she ever getting back behind the wheel?
Hopefully, but I doubt it. We just built a new camp, so she's worrying about that more than racing, so I can't see her getting behind the wheel again.
So if it's fun day and there's no points on the line and you have an extra car, you mentioned there was a Civic, so tell Dad to just take the Sportsman car and let her drive the Civic, right?
Could do that, or just let her drive her. Technically, the 53 is still her car, and I could just drive my Honda, I guess, or...
Would that put pressure on her, though, because that car's won this year? Would she have to go out and win?
She probably wouldn't feel pressured, but we would probably pressure her to go out and win.
Here's what you got to do, Tim, when you get down there. Maybe we'll talk to JP. We've got to have all the MacPhees in one of those races this weekend. Mom, Dad, JJ, and Shay all in the same race. Figure out the cars.
I don't think a Sportsman would compete with...
No. I'm saying get your dad, do like a pay car, get someone else's 4-cylinder.
So borrow Isaacs or Adams or Patrick's or somebody down there in that corner, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. That'd be pretty
neat.
I'd
love to do it.
We always hear about father-son racing. We've got father-daughters with the Oblenuses. How about a mom, dad, and sons race? I mean, that'd be so cool.
That'd be something different, I guess.
We'll have to put it in JJ or JP's ear when he comes on a little bit later on. I think I like that idea.
Serious question.
Okay.
Everybody has the exact same car. Who wins out of the 4?
You're asking me or Tim?
I'll ask both of you.
I just want to see a good race. There's no comment for me.
Okay, lame answer. Next.
I can't. If I say that, I'll get beat up when we're done this call.
So the answer is you. You just don't want to say it out loud.
Pretty much.
So the politically correct answer is probably Tam or Steve.
Probably Dad, honestly.
Do we start him a half lap down then?
No, definitely not.
Okay. Ryan Mcknight is watching. He was part of the East Coast Mini Stock Tour this year as well and did really, really well. Would have loved to seen him race at Lake Doucette. I think that was the one race he was missing, but he's looking forward to going there for the tour race next year. Is there any good pointers you can give Ryan Mcknight?
Well, try and set your car up for corner 1 and 2 because that's really the most important because 3 and 4 is more probably petty or so. So I know he was super fast there, so he should do all right down there.
I think he'd do all right, and especially with the season that he had on the East Coast Mini Stock Tour will be something to watch in 2022. Joe Harry is watching too. A family race would be cool. He would have to flag it. So I would assume, would Joe need a black flag if we did a family race?
For sure. Definitely.
Okay.
There'd
Brett
be a
Pa-
lot of bumping and grinding going on.
so maybe a rolled up black flag, maybe not an unfurled black flag, right? Just a little more.
Well, maybe the black flag with the orange circle in it, because there'd probably be bumpers hanging off going around the track.
Brett Patterson wants to know your favorite NASCAR drivers.
Chase Elliott all the way.
Okay, so I guess
Kyle Larson too, but
so that settles the Chase Elliott Kevin Harvick debate that we were not going to have on the show tonight, right?
I used to like Harvick, but I don't know more.
Ryan McKnight's. Oh, Alicia says the tip is to make sure the fan is on in the race car. So that's probably a good tip to have, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
That's a huge tip.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder where that would have came into this season.
Not just easy.
Okay. Isn't the crew chief responsible for the fan though? Wouldn't that be Alicia's job?
Probably.
I don't know.
You can only turn it on from inside the car.
Okay. Oh well, I guess you have a good point there.
You're going to be off Alicia's Christmas card list.
Pretty much. Brett Patterson wants to know if you play any video games, and I think Dylan had mentioned a little bit earlier about iRacing. So have you done any of that yet?
I haven't got into that, but me and a buddy, we race on the NASCAR Heat 5 series at his house all the time. We're trying to get iRacing, but the computer thing's too expensive, and we haven't got to that far yet.
You playing on an Xbox? I play NASCAR Heat 5.
Yeah, we play on an Xbox One.
Yeah, maybe we wrecked each other. I don't know.
Probably.
You would never wreck anybody, would you, Dylan?
I race clean. It's all these people that like you'll know playing NASCAR Heat. It's awful. You try and pass on the outside, and they swing up and wreck you in the wall.
Have you seen an iRacing Tim's Corner special event? It's no different.
So we're not talking about smashed potatoes here.
What do you find with that NASCAR Heat 5 there, JJ?
I find it's pretty realistic, honestly. The only thing you don't feel is when the car wiggles under you, but you feel it all in the steering wheel. So I find it's pretty realistic, and it definitely helps with the driving capability for sure.
In that game, I know we're kind of sidetracking here, but what's your favorite NASCAR vehicle to drive? Because the Cup, the Xfinity, and the truck all drive different in that game.
Normally we stick to dirt or the Cup, so I don't think I've ever touched the trucks. I have tried Xfinity a little bit, but we normally stick to Cup and race around in them.
You know what, with either iRacing or that, it's just even just getting behind the wheel in the off season. What can you bring from just playing a video game basically to a real racetrack later in the season?
Well, just trying to stay off people really, and try not to be aggressive, because when you're racing online, it's totally different than when you're racing in the real world. Because when you wreck a car online, it don't matter as much than when you're racing at Lake Doucette and roll your car.
Yeah, I'd be in a lot of debt, Tim, if they billed me for the amount of cars I've unfortunately wrecked.
I have seen you race about 4 laps in a dash for cash in Miramichi. Brandon, do you remember that?
Yeah, but I can't say much.
Oh yeah, Leafs scored, baby. Leafs scored. Leafs scored, baby. Who cares about me? Leafs scored. Anyway, Sean Pierce has got a question for you. JJ's asking, what's faster at Lake Doucette, the Honda or the Sunfire, and which do you like more?
Well, the Hondas are definitely faster with better, good drivers, but with a top-notch driver and a Cavalier there, they could probably keep up pretty close, but the Hondas most likely will win.
Can I hop in here for a second?
Sure, absolutely.
I just kind of wanted to put a little point on these mini stock guys, because people think, it's just like a beginner class. You break the windows out of a car, put a cage in it, you go on the track. But it's really not like that anymore. The amount of time that these guys put into these is insane. I have hundreds of hours into mine, and the thing hardly turns on. So to see the way this class is evolving and the amount of effort it actually takes is kind of cool.
And especially, I think, with the effort that you guys put in down there at Lake Doucette, and what you guys do as a team alone to put your cars on the racetrack, there's a lot of effort there. And JJ, I don't think there's a lot of people that really see that, because they just see the cars that show up to the racetrack and they run around the racetrack. But races are won and lost in the shop, as we all know. But you guys you guys have a lot of work on your hands with all the race cars you have, right?
Oh yeah, like last year, I think me and my brother and my dad, we both took 2 cars to the track each. We each had a Honda. Dad had a Sportsman, and me and Shay both had Cavaliers. So for 2 weeks in between races, we were every night, 5 or 6 of us working on cars, fixing smashed cars. A lot of hours put in that garage.
We'll do last call on social right now. I think Jordan Vino said, I think they're some of the best drivers in Atlantic Canada, the mini stocks, and I do believe that that's there as well. So that mark stays, I think. If you have any questions for JJ, final call on social. JJ, you don't do it alone. You've got a lot of teammates around you. You got a lot of crew, got some sponsors on that race car. Who makes it happen for you guys?
Oh, definitely mom and dad is top priority. They fork out the bill, I guess, and TST Trucking's the biggest sponsor, which they own, I guess, and all the pit crew that put in the hours to help us out and drive all over Nova Scotia and the Maritimes to help us and fix our cars and run through the pits when we roll over.
Now, Jason Pickles and Colin Brewer both asked about hauling to Sydney. I know you guys did that last year. It's about a 7-ish hour haul. Any thoughts about October 30th?
Dad threw it in the air last night, but where we just figured out today that Shay blew his motor, it's definitely not going to happen now.
So there you go. So for those that are saying come up to Cape Breton, you guys went up there last year, so it's time for the return trip for those guys to come down to Yarmouth, right?
Oh, we'd love to see them down here. We'd welcome them with huge arms, and hopefully they come, but it's a long haul, and we don't blame them for not wanting to make the long trip, but hopefully next year we can get some money races, and they'll come down for the money.
But I can tell you with the hospitality and the folks and the racing there itself, it's definitely worth the trip. JJ, before we let you go, I know Dylan had mentioned about the seafood, mentioned about the area. It's a great place to plan a vacation, great place to plan a trip. I know you mentioned Kayla Burkhart and maybe Brandon coming down this weekend. Where's the best place to go to eat after the race?
Best place to eat after a race in Uranus? Well, there's lots of places. Rudder's probably comes to mind if you want some good seafood and stuff. There's the dinner plate. I've never personally ate there, but everybody I've talked to said it's pretty good. Marco's, that's a real good restaurant. And then you got all the pizza places. We always go out for pizza normally after we're racing, so that's what we normally do.
Laura Ann says dinner plate, and I'm sure we're going to talk about food throughout because we got a couple more guests on here that know a thing or two. Mern's Family Restaurant, another one that has popped up. So keep throwing your suggestions down below because if Brandon Campbell comes into town, you know he's going to want to eat. JJ, this has been fun. Thank you for joining us. Thank Tam for us as well for hooking this up. And we will see you guys on Sunday and hopefully with a couple of checker flags at the window.
Thank you. Hopefully we can go to victory lane for you.
We'd love to see it. That's JJ MacPhee, driver, the number 53, and on the East Coast Mini Stock Tour, the number 94. And TCM 300 coming up in about a month or so. Brandon, you're excited for our next big iRacing event, aren't you?
Well, my computer broke a few weeks ago, and I still haven't fixed it.
Oh my
gosh! I kind of have that problem. I have that issue with things not liking to turn on.
Hold on, Paul. You're gonna have to mute that mute.
But no, if I get things figured out, I'm excited. I'm sure Dustin Momberket's been talking about it. I know you saw him up in Peterborough, and
I did actually.
So I'm sure he'll show up. We'll have a good time. I'm sure there'll be a big turnout.
Yeah, Paul is scrambling looking for the 300. There it is, right there, maybe in the Google, something like that. Anyways, we'll talk about it while we're here. TCM 300 coming up on November 19th. And did Dustin Momberket mention the idea that I had, Brandon, for the Wednesday night? Can we tell the people what we're going to do on the Wednesday night of that week?
I remember you sent me something, and I was supposed to look at it, and I forgot. Dustin said you talked about iRacing, so you can break the news to me while we're here.
So our initial plan right now is to do a Dash for Cash event on the Wednesday of that week. So this show is actually not going to happen as a TCM live show. It's going to happen as a TCM special event. $20 entry fee, first 20 or 24, I think, that sign up. Separate from the 300, but not exactly separate from the 300, if that makes sense. 2 50-lap features, winner take all. So essentially it's going to be, I think if you do the math, it's $200 to win each leg of the 50-lap features. Everybody's been asking for a quote-unquote money race. So that's what it's going to be. And then we're going to have some extra racing, obviously, throughout the week with the 300, couple of qualifying nights, last chance qualifier. And then on Friday night, it's going to be the 300. And Brandon, the Dash for Cash, open setups.
Oh, it's over. I need to mention one other thing. Colin's in here saying the computer's just like my car. But last time Colin was on iRacing, I think he wrecked us all about 15 times.
Oh, he wrecked me at Concord when I was fighting Troy Burke for a win.
Buddy was 6 laps down in a 10-lap race, just wrecking people. He was playing like the people doing NASCAR heat.
Wow. That's a little rough, but it is what it is. But once again, 300. So signups should be opening this week, probably on Friday for those that ran with us last year, so you can get your number and whatever else. But it seems like those guys like to have that logged in. So and then the signups for the regular, general public will open up next week sometime. So. The other thing we should mention as well, Dylan TCM Most Popular Driver Award 10th Annual, 84. I updated the list today. 84 drivers are on that list, which is a big number compared to what we usually have. We usually have around 100, but we usually don't get to that mark until we open up the actual vote.
And I'm not one of them.
Well, technically, actually, if you look at that list, Brandon Campbell is on the list. Somebody nominated Brandon Campbell.
That's super exciting for me. I'm glad it's just show up to 3 races, not finish 3 races. Is Ricky Miller on the list?
Yes, Ricky Miller's on the list.
Colin, you better pick me over Ricky.
Try and shut off the light again.
They allow 3, or we allow 3 on that first ballot. So maybe we can put a Brandon Campbell, Ricky Miller, and somebody else together on that.
Is Nate Langell on the list?
Yes, he is.
Good. That's top 3. Everybody should choose those 3.
Okay, well there you go. I don't know what we're gonna do with Josh, but anyways, it is what it is. So anyways, we're gonna stop talking about the 300 because we're gonna talk about iRacing later on as well. By the way, congratulations, Keegan Leahy, $100,000 winner last night in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Big trophy, big money, and he's from Halifax. Before we go into our next guest, Dylan, I did ask him last night. Echo Pizza should have had a bunch of orders tonight because they're doing their Don't Air Pizza order tonight instead of last night after the race.
Oh, there you go. And I'm sure old Michael Jordan gave some props to Keegan as well. Keegan made the Halifax Reddit, which is not much about racing. So he made that page today. So that's so cool to see a Haligonian and Nova Scotian win a prestigious title with e-racing. So getting that done and man, $100,000 US, that's like $1 billion Canadian. He's set for life, basically.
Yeah.
1.4 billion.
Life-changing money for Keegan Leahy. Congratulations to one of our friends of our show picking up the big money and friend of Tim's Corner Motorsports. But let's roll on. Let's continue to talk about Lake Doucette Motor Speedway. Let's get back on subject here tonight. Our next guest is the driver of the number 16 late model Sportsman at Lake Doucette. It's Ed LeBlanc. We'll make sure that Paul gets the right B-roll this time. And it's that button, does that. I love looking at stuff in the background. Ed, good to talk to you tonight. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Nice. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking some time out on a Wednesday night. Rookie season in this Sportsman car comes to an end this weekend. Are you ready for the fun day?
As ready as I'm going to be. It's been a rough year. It's had its ups and downs.
And we just had JJ on here talking about the 4-cylinder. You began racing in a 4-cylinder class. So let's talk about this deal. How did you get your start in racing behind the wheel at Lake Doucette?
Well, I've watched it for years. I used to go to regularly, never missed a race. And then I told the wife, I said, I got to get into this. I'm tired of my boys cheering for other drivers. I want them to cheer for me. So I had 2 dailies at the time. So I sold one of my daily drivers and bought myself a 4-cylinder race car. And that's where the journey began.
And it just went on from there. You've been racing for a few years now. What do you remember about that first race that you pulled onto those high banks at Lake Doucette with that 4-cylinder?
I didn't get far. I did the first pace laps. I went to shift into 3rd gear at the start, and I blew the transmission. I watched the first race from the pits.
Reminds me of another driver that we have on the call, right?
Yeah, I know how that feels. It sucks.
Yeah, it wasn't the best feeling.
But you caught on really quickly in these 4-cylinder cars. We just mentioned the competition in this division. The competition is steep. It's not easy to run at the front and mix it up with those guys. So what do you remember about the learning curve trying to get up there and make Ed's name a household name?
Well, it's definitely stiff competition, and now it's even way stiffer. Like, there's some really good drivers this year. Like, I raced one race there, and I had no chance whatsoever. I couldn't keep up. But the first year, it was a big learning curve. Yeah. Then I raced since we had the 2 heats, I was racing, we were the slower cars, and I ended up getting the hang of the track. And I started, I got 5 wins in my rookie year in that class, but it was just heat wins. I've never won a feature. But
it's still the carrying of the checkered flag, and I know those heat wins are special to you. What do you remember about that first heat win that you were able to pull off?
Oh, it was amazing. It was just like I had won $1 million, I'll never forget it.
We are live and interactive here this evening with Ed LeBlanc. Be sure to drop a question or a comment. We'll get Brandon to get at it while he's on his break. Yeah, you are having a nice conversation with Colin Brewer over there. Is that what I see?
Yeah. So Colin said he's not voting for Ricky because he nominates himself. And then I asked if he's voting for me, and he said, did I nominate myself? I didn't. So he should vote for me. But there's actually some big news here.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Douglas Shand says, oh, I lost it. Talking with Pat Lawrence and hoping to see the Hot Rod Classics at Lake Doucette in 22. Dylan, what do you have to say about it?
I'd be up for it.
I think it would be cool.
It would be cool to bring the vintage tour down there. I'm sure there'll be conversations. And hey, I'll just say this: I can't say yes or no. We weren't supposed to go to 660 originally in 2021, so you never know what can happen.
Can I make one comment?
Sure.
It's not even a comment; it's a question.
Okay.
What classes race there? I've heard Sportsman, I've heard V8, I've heard 4-cylinder. What's there?
That's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. Congratulations, pat yourself on the back.
So a V8's like a straight stock, completely stock type deal?
We'll talk to JP a little bit later on. Ed, you might be able to elaborate on it, but a sportsman car is a sportsman car. Rules, I think, are similar, if not bang on, to Scotia Speed World. Yeah. The V8 is pretty much anything else with a V8 motor, right?
Pretty much, and they run slicks. I mean, nothing over, I'm pretty sure it's around 240 horse. Nothing, it's nothing special.
So Brandon, put Caleb Burkhart's straight stock in the trailer, throw slicks on it, and come down and race, right?
I don't think he'll have the same opinion on that as we do, but I can ask him.
I mean, that's all it takes, right? You have to ask the question first.
Well, he mentioned that he would drive if we went, so he may as well hook the trailer on and we'll be there.
Well, that's right?
Exactly.
So, Ed, I want to ask about the transition. And Joe Harry says V8 stock, bone stock with slick. So that pretty much hits the nail on the head with what we had there. Ed, I want to ask you about the transition to Sportsman, because you're getting the grip of the 4-cylinder car. You're picking up those heat wins. You're running up front. Those guys know your name. They're familiar with you. And then all of a sudden you end up with a sportsman car. So how did that happen?
Well, I can pretty much thank Kyle Hines and Justin Goodwin for that one, because I went to the track one day, me and the wife, and they were there, and I was starting to ask them. I said, I'd like to run a different class. I said, V8 stock. I think, they're like, why would you want to run a few tenths or whatever faster, half a second faster? I said, buy yourself a Sportsman. And they told me where there was one. They said, it's a good deal. So looked at the wife. The wife said, you know what, go for it. So I looked at both of them. I said, you both heard that, right? So in case something happens down the road, you guys heard that. So that's basically where it started. And I ended up buying, it's probably that first car that Steve crashed at Lake Doucette, because my car was Steve's car at one point.
And you went out, I think, at the end of the 2020 season, because you were still racing the 4-cylinder car, and Ed Senior was starting to race there as well. And wasn't there something? I heard a story about a burnout and a transmission let go and something. What
Yeah,
happened there?
yeah. It was an expensive weekend, let's just say. Trying to get ready for fun day, wanting to show off and practicing doing donuts because I'd never done a donut in a big car like that before. We did a few, yeah, it was all good. Then the transmission started making noise, or the rear end, I don't remember what it was. We pulled the transmission out, and yeah, all the bearings fell out the front, and the spool had a few broken pieces in it. Yeah, so yeah, lesson learned, not. Get another transmission for the next day, put that in, ran the first heat, ran part of the second heat, that transmission let go. So that was the end of my day.
So the biggest lesson you took at a fun day last year was what?
Well, everybody says not burn the tires, but that's not going to happen again this year.
So when Sean Burke and those guys are lighting it up on the turn one side for the fans, you'll be there just waving, saluting to the fans, right?
Oh, pretty much. Wink, wink. Not.
I want to ask you about this first Sportsman season because you've got one of the best, sharpest looking race cars out there. You guys did a great job on that this year. But what's been the biggest takeaway from this Sportsman season for the first time moving from that 4-cylinder up to the late model?
Just putting it on the trailer at the end of the day, that's a win to me. Like I'm still learning a lot. I got a lot of people that are guiding me, helping me set up the car and stuff like that, giving me pointers. Because without them, I'd still be way behind. I mean, I am gaining slowly and I'm very impatient. I want to be up there with them, but it is what it is, I guess. Just go out there and have fun.
And you didn't do this rookie season alone. When we talk about rookie classes, and I think the last time I was down there was you and Doug going at it. The field was going at it, or the leaders are going at it. Jason Morris and those guys are going at it for the win, and you and Doug back and forth, just putting on a phenomenal show. Obviously, it's nice to get in on your rookie season, but how cool is it to have a guy that pretty much had the same path in a 4-cylinder car up to a Sportsman battling it out for the rookie of the year?
Awesome. I mean, Doug's a great driver. I thought he might be a little bit crazier with the Sportsman than me, but it costs a lot of money in these things. It's not a 4-banger no more. And I learned that the hard way, and so did he, unfortunately.
What's the biggest takeaway so far from this season for those that are watching that are thinking, hey, I want to move up to a late model? What's the biggest takeaway for you from your team this year?
Oh, that's a hard one, man. I don't know. Just the rush, I guess. I mean, compared to, sure, 4-cylinder was fun, but man, you can't beat the pull of those V8s, and especially like JJ was saying, the speeds on the backstretch. It's like I might not be up there with them, like doing 160, 170, whatever, but it's still a pretty good rush.
And you guys have a team now, because not only are you driving the Sportsman car, but Senior's behind the wheel of a 4-cylinder car. How has he been enjoying it this year? How's he been getting along with his car?
The car, not so great. I mean, the transmissions don't seem to like him. Neither do those front bumpers, because we're all out of front bumpers now.
Well, the last time I was down there, wasn't he trying to keep all 4 wheels planted on the ground?
Yeah, we cured that issue. Because going into turn 1, he kept on lifting that left rear was coming off the ground quite a bit.
Now I know Paul's got a little bit of video B-roll of some in-car stuff from this racetrack, but for those that have never been there before, and we talked to JJ a little bit about it, but you started racing here a couple of seasons ago as well. What is the biggest tip that you can give a driver that might be on the fence thinking, hey, I want to come down there? How do I run the track? What's the biggest tip you can give them to get around Lake Doucette?
Oh, I'm still learning in my Sportsman at least. So just be careful in that turn 1, because I've learned that if you come into that turn too hot, the rest of your lap is completely gone, because you got no exit on turn 2. That's about the biggest one that everybody's told me, and it is definitely hard to catch on. I mean, these guys are veterans compared to like me and Doug.
And we're showing a little bit of highlights now of the Sportsman division down there, and it's grown in leaps and bounds. And Dylan, I think you can attest to it. When we go to Speedway 66 here, we go to Petty Raceway. Their car counts have kind of shrunk a little bit to an 8 or a 10 on a regular basis. When we go to Scotia Speed World, the car counts have come back up 16, 18, 20. Lake Doucette's had 10 to 12 cars, and it's been 10 to 12 really good race cars. You got to see them down there in August. What was your thoughts on that sports division?
It was cool. First, Ed, good to have you here. I see you got Zoom working. You have any issues with it?
No. All good.
He, by the way, he didn't have to have his mom connect to Zoom. Nothing against JJ. Thank you, Tam, by the way. But I think he's one step ahead. Dylan, go ahead.
No, I just thought it was really cool seeing that race the time I went down with Tim and just seeing how every division drove the track a little differently. But then to kind of go back to what you're saying, Tim, about car counts, one of the cool things at the end of the year was seeing all the Lake Doucette guys come up to Scotia Speed World, Steve MacPhee and JJ in the 37 car, Sean Pierce, all mixing in there. And it's showing that Sportsman division is growing and that they can kind of dabble in different tracks. And as a rookie, advice for someone who would maybe want to bring a Sportsman down to Yarmouth anytime soon?
Come on down and just come out there, have fun. You know, you don't have to compete to have fun. I mean, I'm having a blast just running out back. I mean, you know, and especially like Tim was saying with me and Doug running hard together, and you know, it's just a fun place to drive. Like it's a very challenging track, but definitely people come down.
One thing I've watched with the videos that have been shot at Lake Doucette, usually the cars got a little bit of damage on the front end or the back end, kind of looks like an open wheel modified. I know your 16's been a little banged up this year. I one in particular, I remember with you and Sean Pierce going into turn 1.
Yeah, that wasn't the best feeling in the world. I don't know. Going into one and all I saw was him up against the wall. I went to turn, put on the binders, and she just slid. I slammed into him. I don't know how fast we were going. Someone said maybe 40, 50 mile an hour. And, you know, I come into pits. I thought it was completely my fault, rookie mistake. And then everybody goes, no, he blew a red hose. It's hard to stop on water. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, still felt kind of crappy, you know.
Did that feel like when you hydroplane or when you're in snow and you hit the brakes and nothing happens? Was the kind of that sensation with the car?
Yeah, pretty much. Feel helpless. It's like, no, this isn't happening.
Ed, I know you were planning to dabble in the dirt before a rain out at Valley Raceway, and you were there for one of the races this year. I know we'll get you there by next year for sure, but what did you think about Valley Raceway the time you came up and you had that 16 car pretty much ready to go, right?
Oh yeah. No, we really enjoyed that day. I mean, it was awesome. I wanted to go up there, and I'm like, well, you know what? I told the wife, I said, let's take the day, just me and you go up. You know, I'm like, you think I can bring a car? She goes, well, we've been racing all summer. She goes, how about just leave the car home for once? So, but no, it was awesome action. I mean, there would have been a few more cars. I mean, but it is what it is.
What do you think about the driving style for those 4 cylinders? You know, it's a lot of younger kids compared to everyone else there, and they're racing pretty hard, but the racing's pretty intense.
Oh, it was amazing. Like, hats off to some of those guys. I mean, as young as they are and driving like that, I mean, they're only going to get better. I mean, in a few years, put them in a modified or something, and they're going to clean house.
Did you talk to anybody at the track about racing, and what would you need to know before going to the Valley?
I talked to Dave Mansfield. I've talked to you. I've talked to Matt Burgoyne and a few people. Yeah.
Any pointers from the guys who I just announced there, but any pointers from the boys who actually raced there?
Well, just try and keep the wheels on it. From what I've seen, that's a hard thing.
Pretty straightforward, Tim.
It sounds like it.
Nathan, he took a shot at Nathan. We heard you, Brandon.
Yeah, Nathan couldn't keep all 4 on it, but that's okay. I think he still came 3rd, didn't he?
Eventually.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
After how many tires?
All of them.
Four, at
3, 4,
least.
5, or something.
Big tire budget at that shop.
There wasn't as many blown tires last race. We regraded the track a little bit when it was getting a little intense, and the tire budget was saved a little bit.
But Nathan rebounded and got himself a podium in the legend car, though, right? So he saved himself a little bit, Brandon.
Yeah, Nathan says, how do I finish top 3 and you still get a shout out in my interview? I said it's because I'm that important. That's it.
It is what it is. Darlene says 61 putting in a plug for the 16. Now, we had JJ on here earlier. I'll ask you the question. Completely similar prepared race cars, completely similar. You and your father, who wins a race?
In the 4-cylinder?
In the 4-cylinder. If you and him had the same car, you guys are racing together, who wins?
Oh, me all day long.
Okay. So is he going to say something different if we ask him on Sunday?
Probably, but he's yet to beat me, so.
Well, so there you go. So maybe give him a half straightaway head start or something, right?
Oh, probably.
So looking forward to this weekend. Obviously, the Fan Appreciation Day, things have to change a little bit because of COVID, but you guys still have the best fans in the business. You guys always put on a show. What are you most looking forward to on Sunday?
The fans, just we're going to be giving away treats and prizes and posters and stuff like that. That's the best part of the whole year, just seeing the smile on the kids' faces. I mean, it's a shame that we can't do like we usually do, have them on the track and take them for rides. I mean, that's an awesome feeling, looking over and seeing a kid in your car with a big smile on his face. There's nothing better than that.
And I think JP, we'll ask him when he comes on the show here in a little bit, but I think their prize giveaway is over $1,000 when it comes to prizes from local businesses. So how cool is that? Not only to see the support from the fans, but also see it from the local business community to kind of help out and chip in on this Fan Appreciation Day.
Oh, it's awesome. It just shows the amount of support that this community, the town, everywhere is willing to share with us,
Final race of the season in the Sportsman car. Obviously, it's a fun day, but there's still a little bit of competition. You're going to put your helmet on. You're going to go race. What would you be happy with on Sunday?
To put the car on the trailer in one piece. Finish the year not with a bang,
but with a gentle bang. Not the that was an expensive bang.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the 2 back tires blowing, that wouldn't be so bad.
It just to put on a show, but not put on too much of a show, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I thought a few weeks ago there when I had power steering issues, I thought my season was over. So after the race, I put on a little show and I had no tires left, of course. Fixed my issues and my car ended up coming back. So I had to scrounge up 2 decent tires, and we're going to try and see what those can do this weekend.
Looking forward to seeing that 16 car in the racetrack. I want to ask you, for those people that are watching that, might not know a whole lot about Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, might not know a whole lot about Yarmouth. Give us a little sales pitch. Why should they make the trip down there this weekend and go and enjoy some pavement racing at Lake Doucette?
Best hospitality around, hands down. Amazing fans, amazing drivers, awesome racing. Just a great bunch. Like, come on down. Bring everybody, bring cars, bring the works.
And cheer for the 16 car, right?
They can cheer whoever they want. I'll still, like it says on my rear spoiler, I'll always be smiling. It's just a rush.
Absolutely. We'll make last call on social. So if you have a question for Ed, be sure to drop it down below or a comment. You've got a lot of marketing partners on your race car as well, and you got some teammates that help you out. Who makes it happen for the 16 team?
Well, we got Dustin's Auto Sales. We got my where I work, CSN Hubert's, Tuscan Sales and Service, Tri-County Heating, Plumbing, Propane, Corning Electric, Prudhomme Heating, Jungle Gyms, Kuna Matata, Troy's Marine Broker. And then, of course, everybody that's helped me throughout the year. I've had Kyle Hines, JP's help, Steve, like the list goes on. Everybody's just so caring. Then, of course, I got my family, my wife, my mom, my dad, my 6 kids. Yeah, I said 6. But
and I'm sure they all help out too, right?
Well, some of them do.
I want to ask you about the marketing partners because you mentioned Hakuna Matata. I believe you were there with the race car on display a couple of weeks ago. I think I saw on the Facebook group. How important is that for you as a race team to, get out there, display your car, and be a part of the community like that?
It's awesome. I mean, I think more should do it. I mean, they put their name on the car. The least we could do, bring our cars there, show them some support, get them some extra business. Unfortunately, the day that I brought the car there, the season was coming to a wind down, and not too many people showed up. But there was a few kids there, and I let them sit in both cars, and they enjoyed it. They really had fun.
Dylan, I think that goes to show about the dedication for not only the sponsors, but also for the race teams as well, to not only promote the sport, but promote their marketing partners as well. And Ed does a great job down there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is a thing where I think we should really start doing. I mean, with the Hot Rod Classics, we were doing it with our sponsors for the races. So when we went to Charlottetown, the boys brought out their cars. And the coolest thing, I think, of anything, is the kids being there. And, they're looking at the cars, and the drivers will say, "Do you want to hop in?" And the look on their faces is priceless. And when they get behind the wheel, it just, that makes a fan, and that brings him to the racetrack. And it gets people that maybe walk by and say, "Wow, I've never actually seen a race car like that. I just see them on TV." So, if you're able to, and you're able to go to your sponsor, why not bring it out?
You know what's awesome? Like, I know they're having their fun day this weekend, but we had ours at Miramichi a few weeks ago, and it was like, I'm signing pictures of my car and giving it to kids. Like, not everybody gets to autograph stuff and give it to people, right? Like, it gives you that little bit of thought in the back of your mind that, like, people actually enjoy this, and you're signing autographs for kids. Like, it's cool.
Brandon, were they just feeling bad for you?
Yeah, well, they also watched me get pushed on and off the track, which wasn't cool for me, but I still got to sign some stuff.
And I know obviously it's going to be a little bit different this weekend with the COVID-19 restrictions and what have you, but Fan Appreciation Day, I know always brings out the people. So I know you're going to be up on the chip to put on a show this weekend for those fans, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're going to hopefully have both cars there. We're just slowly putting that 16 back, the 4-cylinder 16 back together after my dad had a little incident there last race day.
Shannon wants to know any memorable wheel losses.
Imagine. My first year, I was going for win number 6. I had like a 10-car lead, and going into turn 1, felt something shaking, and I'm like, "No, are you kidding me?" And yeah, my front wheel passed me. Lesson learned: Volkswagen rim on the right front.
There you go. It's hard to learn those lessons, but at least if you learn them, you don't make the same mistake twice, right?
No, oh, definitely not. You don't want to. No.
This has been fun, Ed. Thanks for joining us here this evening. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday. Looking forward to seeing the whole team on Sunday, and we will chat with you on Sunday, and maybe with a checkered flag out the window.
Ooh, that'd be nice. Maybe if not saying that it ain't possible. I mean, they're all great drivers, so maybe if they all wreck, I might be able to win.
There you go. They don't ask you how; they ask you how many, right?
Exactly.
Ed, this has been fun. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll see you guys then.
That's Ed LeBlanc, driver, the number 16 at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway in the Sportsman division. Now, fantasy points. We technically don't have a fantasy points race this week because of it was going to be the Ricky Bobby, but obviously that's been changed, canceled, moved on, whatever. So I think what we might do is we might do the late model Sportsman show at Lake Doucette, but dealing with this the changing of the roster and what have you. We're not sure who's going to be there. I know Sean Pierce had mentioned that the last race there was the last race of his season, so maybe we'll still keep that. But I've got to cut into Denver's lead, and apparently I got to cut into Meredith's lead too because I've been choking here the last couple of weeks.
I'm just like out of it. I'm just here to have fun. Well, actually, I'm 80 points, man. I could have. If you all have a bad day, I could steal this thing.
You could. Brandon is actually doing pretty good. He's actually made up a lot of points here in the last couple of weeks.
I told you, if we're going by average per week, I think I'm number 1.
I still don't think, I thought about it today. I was like, the other person that was a part of this deal, maybe add their points in with yours, but I really don't want to finish 4th. I'd rather have a podium finish out of this.
Well, you win some, you lose some, right?
Well, that's it. we are waiting for our next guest, JP Arsenault, to show up. And I want to actually, my phone's been lighting up here the last little bit about the Sydney show coming up on October 30th. So I spoke with Lyndon McDougall last night for a little bit. They're still working through the motions, putting a format together, hiring staff. We talked about the Friday night practice there last night. They're going to have a Friday night pre-tech parking practice, what have you. They don't have lights, obviously, at the Speedway, so it's going to be an afternoon thing more than anything. But an opportunity for those local guys that haven't gone through tech at a racetrack this year to tech safety and what have you. So that is something to look forward to as well. But I had a message from a New Brunswick team earlier tonight asking about it, and it's not Laurie Cormier. So there might be a couple of extra cars going up to Sydney. So for those that are listening that might want to go up there, more information to come. I know Lyndon is still working on a purse breakdown of format. And I think by the sounds of it, we expect that sometime this weekend, probably maybe Monday even at the latest, because I know they've been busy working on the racetrack, and it's hard to work on the racetrack and work on the back end as well. So I've been helping them out a little bit, but I'm excited for it, Dylan. I know you've been looking at a schedule, but I know you went to Sydney last year, so the parties are good, the atmosphere is great, and the racing is phenomenal too.
The 5 a.m. alarm was not great.
No, it was well for me. It was great because I wasn't in the room with you guys.
6:30 at the max.
What do you mean 6:30 at the max?
It was 6:30 that alarm went off. What the? Okay, hold on a minute here. We got a problem with JP. JP.
Okay. Hold on. Come back to the 3 box.
Oh yeah, get rid of him.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh boy, double whammy.
Okay, show that shirt again, JP, because we missed it on the show here. Okay. Can we get a score check on the game?
1-1.
1-1.
Okay.
1-1.
Yep.
Canadians.
Can we get a score check on that game last weekend, Dylan, in the wherever it was, LCLC?
6-1.
We'd rather
back over the Mariners in Yarmouth.
We'd rather not talk about that.
Yeah. Let's transition away from that. Our next guest is the president of the Southwest Stock Car Association and driver of the number 0 Sportsman, JP Arsenault. JP, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to this weekend before we dabble into the season and the Sportsman car and what have you. Let's talk about this weekend, because I know you guys have been busy putting together Fan Appreciation Day and Fun Day. There's a big mega giveaway. There's a lot going on. So give us a little bit of a breakdown, a little summary, what fans can expect this weekend.
Well, first of all, we're starting the day with all our trophy presentations, like championship trophies, Rookie of the Year, most sportsmanlike driver of the year, voted by the drivers. So we're starting with that to start off today, and then we're going to have a set of heat races. And then we're going to have fan appreciation. There's going to be giveaways. There's a huge draw. Lana and Karen Burke went out and found a bunch of stuff. And now they put everything together, and Lana's going on Facebook and making the fans go here and there and do stuff to get their name in a draw. And the draws is the mega basket is worth probably over $1,000 with all stuff that was donated by local companies, which is awesome.
It's great to have that community support. And we talked to Ed here a couple of moments ago about the support that the fans give. And obviously some of the best fans in the business are at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, but how cool is it to see the community really hop on and jump in behind this thing, and especially to finish it off with the fan appreciation, one of the biggest events of the year?
Oh, it's unreal. I mean, I didn't expect this. I mean, CarQuest alone gave us a generator, a 3,500 watt generator. And then, I mean, all the companies, gift certificates, meal gift certificates at stores, merchandise, toys, all, you just name it. There's so much stuff. It's unreal.
Obviously, with COVID-19, it changes the fan appreciation aspect of it a little bit with the province of Nova Scotia and public health guidelines. So for those that are going to the racetrack this weekend, I'm sure they can pick up tickets at the gate, but what else changes when they come into the gate compared to what would usually be a regular fan appreciation night?
Well, we decided we're just not going to. Normally, we let the fans come on the track and mingle with the drivers and take pictures in the cars and stuff like that. But this year we decided we're just not going to let the fans on the track. We're just like all the cars, all the drivers will be on the track. The fans will come to the fence, and if they have stuff, they'll exchange the stuff. We're going to have walkers and coming from the track to the stands to give giveaways to the fans. The drivers can interact through the fence and stuff like that, but we're just not going to allow the fans on the track for this year.
So it's going to be a little bit different, but that interaction is still there, so the fans can meet the drivers and get posters and pictures and what have you from the drivers, right?
Exactly, that's right.
We're live and interactive with JP Arsenault, president of the Southwest Stock Car Association. If you have a question or a comment, drop it below. Besides we have a Go Toronto Go by Darren Wilcox. Drew is also asking to clean the shirt up. I guess there's a bunch of Toronto fans in the peanut gallery tonight, right?
That's what it looks like.
Yep. Dylan?
Yeah, I'm like cross-eyed. I'm watching this screen. I'm watching my phone with the game on here.
Still 1-1.
I think JP's probably got it in the background, it looks like, too.
I've got it right in front of me, actually.
You know what, though? I'd actually like one of those shirts in case there's another toilet paper shortage.
That's not going to happen.
Well, the Maple Leafs jersey is white, right?
Mine's blue.
Well, I'm not talking about yours. You were talking about shirts. The one that I'm looking at right now is white, right?
Are we here to talk about racing or what?
We are now.
Yeah, LJ, Daryl McKinnon says go Boston. So we got another JJ fan here. Yeah, and Darren says it's still 1-1. But let's talk back about the racing.
No. Read LJ's comment, Tim.
Toilet seat on JP's shirt.
Never mind, LJ. He can't even be a linesman, so how can he be a hockey fan and know the difference?
We'll just leave it at that. I'm sure there's going to be a little more hockey talk here in the next 25 minutes or so that we have left. But I want to ask you about the season, because obviously it's not easy to run the show. But coming on board with the presidency for the Southwest Stock Car Association, how has your year been? Have you lost any hair? What's the season been like for you? Well,
my hair was gray, and now it's probably grayer, as is the beard. But all in all, it's been, I'm not going to say it's been trouble-free, but it has been fairly smooth. Considering all the obstacles we had to face, it's been fairly smooth.
And obviously with the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a lot of obstacles for everybody in this industry when it comes to planning an event. But race car wise, your car counts have been phenomenal. Got some great storylines down there for fans that, might not have seen a whole lot about Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, or might not have been following closely. What racing wise, from the organizational standpoint, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
Biggest takeaway racing wise, I mean, I think we've cleaned a lot of stuff up. The racing has been fairly clean. I mean, we're still running race cars. They're still beating and banging, but the racing has been fairly clean, and there's been really good racing. There's been a lot of side by side and really close battles all along the field. So that's my takeaway of how well the racing has been this year.
You look at that 4-cylinder division, the car count has continued to grow. Isaac Camo putting on a great show this year. Patrick Nickerson's really come into his own and building that race car and bringing it to the front. Obviously, when the MacPhee show up, they're good. Reagan Goodwin's put on a couple of really good races this year. You go down through the list, there's no slouch when it comes to that 4-cylinder division, but how good is it to see the car counts really pick up there?
Oh, it's been awesome. I mean, the Sportsman class is the one that really surprised me this year. I mean, we've had probably at the least 9, at the most 12, and that's been all year long. And it's been up close, good racing there. I'd like to see the V8 stock class grow. That's the one that really I'd love to see grow.
And I think with the division that you have, it's easy to see the closeness when it comes to the division. If you have two cars that are really close and they put on a show, that the car count thought kind of goes out the window. But I know Mike DeViller and Willard have put on a couple of really good shows. Obviously, Sean is stout down there. But for those that don't know about the V8 class, what's the V8 class consist of?
Well, we're trying to keep it as stock chassis as possible. Any North American chassis can be used. All the chassis are basically metric chassis, is what we have. We have a couple of trucks. We want one full-size truck, one S10 truck, but the rest is all metric chassis. There's some older Sportsman cars that have been converted. We're trying to run like kind of a crate engine program, but our crate engine would be like one step down from what 660 is using. It would be like a 190 to 210 horsepower crate engine is what we're trying to impose to these guys. A lot of guys are just running stock 350s with a 18-inch vacuum rule, but we're trying to keep it as stock as possible.
And the racing has been good. And obviously a 76-year-old champion doesn't happen very often. But how about the young guy behind the wheel of the 101 this year?
He has been unreal. He started the season, he didn't look that great, and then middle of the season he just woke up and he was just up front all the time, and just for a 75-year-old man, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. It has been amazing.
And the late model sportsman division has been great as well. You mentioned the car counts, and considering where the other racetracks are in Atlantic Canada, it's not only right up there with those other racetracks, but the competition has been phenomenal as well. You get those part-time guys like, Steve and yourself, and they come in, and Sean has been a great addition to that division, Sean Pierce. And then Jason Morris just lighting it up, coming up from the V8 stock class. So you have to be happy with the competition sportsman-wise this year.
Definitely. I mean, Jason Morris surprised me. He did things that I did not think he was going to do in that car. He's been amazing. But I mean, Jason, Kyle, Sean's been up front. I mean, Sean Pierce, if Sean Pierce would have had any luck at all this year, he would have been there as well. I mean, I think he broke almost every race day except maybe one or two. But the last race day, I think he finished second or third. He was up on the podium. So it's been a great addition, there's no doubt.
And it's going to be a great race on Sunday with the Fun Day. So for those that have never been to Fun Day before, if they're sitting with a race car, they're sitting with a Honda, maybe it's Scotia Speed World, they're sitting with something in New Brunswick, and because New Brunswick is sitting idle this weekend, no racing going on there for the second consecutive week. I think they're getting itchy to go racing. What can they expect? If you're a fan coming down, what can they expect on the racetrack? Give us a little summary for the Fan Day for both drivers. That might be, sitting with a car that want to come down, or fans maybe from the Halifax area or from across the bay that want to come down.
Well, if experiencing the hospitality itself is not enough, just sit in that race car and experience the speed going on the backstretch. It's a rush that you've probably not felt in a race car before. So just that alone, I would say, is worth the trip down.
Absolutely. Dylan, I know you took your first trip down there in August. You got to experience the hospitality. What was your thoughts on everything that was going on there?
Well, even Tim and JP, we were under stricter COVID restrictions at the time. I mean, the hospitality was amazing. And I was saying to JJ earlier, just the fans and the passion that they have for the drivers, it's really second to none. But fan appreciation, and JP, I know you can say it's all but the fans and the sponsors, but the fans that pack those stands every time you race are the ones that really make it for the drivers, right?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Without the fans, there'd be nobody there. I mean, the fans, and they're dedicated. The fans, you can ask almost half these fans who won the championship. They'll know exactly who won it, by how many points, and when and how.
Yeah, they can just get it right down to the wire and just figure out stuff. And, and I was saying too, you get cheering sections, JP. You've got the MacPhee section in this place, and this team, and this team. Is there a big JP Arsenault cheering section?
Probably not. He's just overwore out.
By the way, not to interrupt you, Dylan, but Mr. Saturday Night wants to know if you're racing on Sunday.
The plan is that I'll be there, so he better watch his bumper.
The front one or the back one?
Doesn't matter. Either or, it doesn't matter.
You can rub off that who's a good boy on the back bumper, can't you?
Yes, I can. I've done it before.
It's going to be a great day of racing at Lake Doucette. But obviously Kyle Hines has had a great season as well. Talk about the points racing that we've had this season down there, because we've had some really close point battles in between those three divisions.
Well, we can start with the Sportsman division. I think Kyle got the championship by, 8 points. And that was the biggest spread in the points all season long. It was 1 point this way, 1 point that way. And at the end, it was, I think Kyle had the biggest stretch. And the only reason is Jason had a bit of trouble here the last couple of races, and that made a difference. In the 4 cylinders, Isaac come out took off early in the season. So he had a big spread there, and they slowly caught up, but they couldn't catch up enough. I mean, Isaac just started the season, just ran away with it. And V8 stocks was close all year long. I mean, I think we had a tie for 3rd place. And Mike DeVille won the tiebreaker by winning a feature race. So it doesn't get any closer than that.
Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think Cyril had mentioned to me that I think Mike missed the first race of the season. Put him behind a little bit.
Yes, he did. He did miss the first race. That put him behind, but he ran up front the rest of the time.
Yeah, he was quick every single race that I saw him in. Tony Claremont, the social media has lit up ever since that you said you were going racing. Tony Claremont says he's going to be down there with his race truck, the number 30, which I believe used to be the Gordy Ritchie truck that used to run in Scotia. Joe Harry says he's going to polish up his black flag. Is that for you or is that for somebody else?
Well, I'm not sure, but you can tell Joe Harry he's got to remember who's going to give him his paycheck at the end of the day.
So he's gonna have to talk to Lana or somebody else then, right? Or Barb or somebody to get that maybe?
Possibly. I mean, Lana control the money, so maybe if he gets lucky, he may get it. Depending on how bad the flag is.
Jason wants to know if he can run his 4-barrel.
No.
Okay.
No.
So there, I know Tech is a little bit lax on Fun Day, but we will be checking carburetors. At least we know that one. Who are you talking to over there, Brandon? You got a conversation going on social.
My good buddy Kyle Boudreau showed up, which I haven't spoken to him this week, but I assume he's going to be there. I'm sure he'll fill me in. We got Dustin Momriket back again, who you met this weekend.
Yep.
But I saw a comment earlier, and it was from Sean Pearson. He just said, JP and the Southwest Stock Car Association did a great job this season. And I just kind of want to add to that because, like me, you, and Dylan, we talked to a lot of people through this TV and announcing stuff. And I haven't heard a single bad thing about like Doucette or Doucette or however you want to pronounce it. But I haven't heard a single bad thing about that track yet.
Well, that's good to hear.
Like, and we hear a lot of stuff throughout the year and not a single bad thing. And I'm going to try to make it up this weekend. Before I go, maybe you can answer this question. Doucette or Doucette?
Well, Clare area is an Acadian community, and it would be Doucette because that's a French name. So it actually would be Lake Doucette.
We.
Uh-oh. Now we're going to have an argument.
Both are acceptable though, right?
Both are acceptable. That's right.
Okay. There you go. There,
Perfect.
yes, something like that.
And actually, if I mention it, I always say Lake Doucette. So
I'll keep that in mind.
And I think I want to kind of go off to Brandon's point because we mentioned this at the summit a couple of years ago. The hospitality second to none, but it also goes to and Pat Patton started this a few years ago, I believe, and you've carried it on your drivers' meetings. Your drivers' meetings are probably some of the most positive drivers' meetings I think I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot of these drivers' meetings around North America. So what's it like to have that atmosphere in the pit area going in and having those guys, obviously it's a competition. Feelings are going to get hurt at some point throughout the day, but what's it mean to have that sort of hospitality, have that sort of mentality going in with those drivers and those teams being happy leading into a race?
Well, when you get to the racetrack and everybody's happy to be there, it starts off your day much easier. If you start your drivers meeting by growling at drivers and telling them what they did wrong last week, well, then you're going to get hard feelings right to start off the day. But if you get a good drivers meeting, I mean, I guess it gets the day going better, I guess.
And it just brings everybody up, and it's something that we don't see a whole lot of when we do this circuit around. And I mean, you've been around to a few of those racetracks as well, and I'm sure you see it. And the other thing I want to mention too, and Sean had mentioned the Southwest Stock Car Association a little bit earlier on. You guys are a committee-run event or a community-run deal, similar to what the Maritime League of Legends Tour and similar to what the Atlantic Modified Tour has for their societies to run their show, but they're running a series. They're not necessarily running the racetrack. So there's obviously some positives and some negatives, but give those guys their due, JP, because I know you have a lot of hardworking folks on that board that help put on this show that we see all season long and that we're going to see on Sunday.
Oh, definitely. I mean, without these guys, there's no way you could do it. We've got Kyle Hines, we've got Barb Morris, we've got James Urquhart, Ed LeBlanc, Lloyd Jedry, Lana Beatty, myself, and Wayne Camone. And I mean, most are drivers, but Atlanta's not a driver. Wayne Camone's not a driver yet. Has been. But anyways, everybody works, and we've been working great together all year long, and it's been just a blessing to work with these guys.
Lighter side of the deal. Now that we called Wayne Camone a has-been, is he coming back yet?
Well, he's talking about it. You maybe see him in a race car next year.
He's mentioned to me about a V8 stock. He's mentioned to me about a Sportsman car. He's mentioned running a 4-cylinder. Has he even made up his mind of what he wants to do yet?
Well, right now it's looking like V8 stock is what he is looking into.
So there's no more 50-50 draws to win at Scotia this year. So he's got to, dig deep in his pocket and try to win the 50-50 on Sunday, right?
I'm pretty sure if he gets an extra crate of lobster, he may be able to afford one.
Looking forward to your racing adventures. You mentioned James Urquhart. I know Jimmy was up there with you at Scotia Speed World, the last race of the season. That kind of open fleet break Atlantic 50 lapper was up and down. How'd it go for you from behind the driver's seat?
Well, it was good until about 2 laps to go. My car was decent. It wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible. I was probably a mid-pack car, like probably fifth to seventh place car. And then the last couple of laps, I just started getting loose going in the corner and just lost it and stuffed it in the wall, as you guys see.
And looking at the schedule, because I know you got out a couple of times at Lake Doucette, you got out at Scotia Speed World. Obviously, your schedule's a little bit busier now with the Southwest Stock Car Association. Is there anything on the radar that you might want to get to? I know Riverside, obviously, with the 250 weekend didn't necessarily happen, but is there anything on your radar racing-wise that you wanted to do in 21 that you might be able to circle on your calendar for 2022? This
upcoming season, I had no plans whatsoever. I decided I was going to go to the track and try my best to get this track running and not worry too much about racing. Then towards the end of the year, well, I kind of thought ending-ish, so I guess we're going to wait and see what happens next year. I have no definite plans, but we'll see what the winter brings and then go from there.
It's always good to see the talent from your home racetrack go somewhere else and do well. I know you were up for that race where we had 4 of the Lake Doucette Motor Speedway drivers come up to Scotia Speed World and race there. From a pride standpoint, from being from Lake Doucette Motor Speedway, how cool was it to see them come up and do well? Because I know Steve was knocking on the door of a top 5 finish that night.
It was awesome to see all those guys, and I mean they all ran well. Sean had a bit of problems. Both Seans had problems actually. They're both involved in stuff. Steve's actually a top runner. I don't care where you bring him, he's going to be running up top somewhere.
Now, looking forward to 2022, obviously, we have to get this final race out of the way here for Fun Day. It's going to be a great time on Sunday, but are the plans underway for 2022? I know there's been some clearing of the area where there used to be grandstands on the tower side. Any look at what's going to go on in 2022? Any ideas race-wise that we can kind of, let the cat out of the bag without letting it completely out of the bag?
Well, there's not a lot of plans yet. I mean, we plan on putting grandstands on the other side of the tower and trying to work something there, maybe a VIP section of some sort. We're going to work on the stands a little bit. Racing wise, we haven't talked about it yet a whole lot. I'd like to see another big Sportsman race at some point, and maybe bring in some kind of touring series if it's possible, because that's actually it was brought to my attention about the Legends Tour, and that's something that we may look into throughout the winter to see if that's doable at all. And also, I dropped the ball in 2021 on the Legends, and I'm going to try to work on trying to get a Legends class of some sort going for next year. But we'll see how that goes.
and I know we already talked about the hot rods, potentially maybe coming down there at some point. How cool would it be to maybe get Ben Patty's ear a little bit and get those guys down there?
That's what I meant. I meant the hot rod. I said Legends, but I meant the hot rod classic. I'd like to talk to someone and see what kind of arrangements we get to get those guys there at some point this year.
Dylan?
On to Pat Lawrence.
There we go.
He's heart of a champion caribou on Facebook.
There you go. We'll make a last call on social media right now for JP. I want to ask about we talked about the atmosphere already earlier tonight, but I think I remember last year there was a water gun fight between it might have been Natalie and Nick and Jimmy and a bunch of others. It just goes to show the atmosphere at that racetrack. So what can we expect on Sunday atmosphere wise? Obviously there's still going to be competition, but do we have any water gun fights? Are you coming prepared?
Well, I'm not touching the water gun, and I sure hope nobody touches me, but you never know. You never know what they'll come up with. So just expect the unexpected.
It's going to be a fun day. Robbie Thompson says, yes, sir. Great news, JP. Let's get the legend class going. He's got about 6 of them. So that's your class already, right?
Exactly. I mean, I just want to watch him drive 6 of them at the same time.
I just want to watch him drive 1.
Well, exactly. Exactly. I'd like to see that as well.
So I'll tell the story from the weekend. Braden Langell ended up buying a seat from Kevin Foisey because he's a dealer for, I think it was ISP. Braden sat in the seat. They weren't expecting to take the seat home with the race car that they did, but kind of got comfortable. And Robbie sat in the seat and did the same thing. This is comfortable, whatever else. And I said, well, you actually have to drive the race car in order to sit down in the seat. So he hasn't committed to driving a race yet, but I know there's one in Sydney coming up in a couple of weeks. So maybe we can convince Robbie to get back behind the wheel. What do you guys think?
I think it's a good idea.
Come on, Robbie, do it.
We're gonna twist his arm a little bit, but it's been fun. Could you imagine Steve, JP, myself, and Paul and others? So apparently he just offered you a legend car to drive.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. And if Steve has a legend car, I'm assuming JJ and Shay are going to be wanting one too. So I think we've got ourselves a division with Robbie.
There you go. We got it all figured out.
Drew McEachran says, always great hospitality at Lake Doucette for everyone in the East Coast Mini Stock Tour. And how great has it been to have those guys down, because those guys put on a show every time that they hit the racetrack.
That's been awesome. It's been nice having them. I mean, that's a great race. It's a clean race. They always, I mean, they're just good. It's just great racing.
Phenomenal show that they put on. Darren Doucette is watching as well. Brandon's trying to get himself in a legend car. We're having a good time on social media, but mentioned all those sponsors. I know you guys have had some season-long sponsors, division sponsors, racetrack sponsors, in addition to everybody that's hopped on for this Fan Appreciation Day. Who do you want to thank for putting together this season for the Southwest Stock Car Association?
Oh my God. I need a list in front of me. I can start with our major sponsors, which are Bashara's Garage, BMC Seafoods, and Tuscan Ford Kia. They are our major sponsors for our major classes. And oh my, I'm drawing a blank here. There's just so many. I need a list in front of me, but I'd say probably 50% of the business in Yarmouth in the Tri-Counties are on board in some way, shape, or form.
The community has really wrapped their arms around this racetrack the last couple of years, haven't they?
Definitely, there's no doubt about it.
Frankie Frazier says you can do it. Get in the legend.
I'm sure I can do it. I'm just not sure which direction I'd be headed, but I'm sure I can do it.
Well, usually if it's a race car, you have to head left, right?
That's the way I try to go.
This has been fun, JP. Looking forward to Sunday. Before we let you go, if there's anybody out there that's watching that's on the fence, and I don't know why they would be, but give them a little sales pitch as to why they should be at Lake Doucette Motor Speedway on Sunday to close the season off.
Well, great racing, great hospitality, all the prizes. Just the $1,000 gift basket is almost enough to get you there. The 50/50s are always $1,000, $1,100, $1,200. And if not, after the race, just a nice cruise on the French shore.
Absolutely.
Can we make a deal?
What kind of deal are we making?
Let's make a deal. If Toronto wins tonight, you wear a Toronto shirt on Sunday. If Montreal wins, I will show up in a Montreal shirt.
Sounds like a plan.
And I'm coming from Moncton, so I sure hope I don't have to wear a Montreal shirt when I get there.
Well, I really don't want to wear a Toronto shirt, so I'd rather see you in a Montreal shirt. Let's put it that way.
I know you mentioned BMC Seafood. I asked the other guys beforehand as well, before we let you go, best place to eat in the town of Yarmouth or surrounding areas for somebody that's coming down.
Well, definitely the dinner place. I've eaten there quite a few times. Their seafood is delicious. Runners, if you go down to the French shores, a place called Creusin Robichaud, that's all home cooked meals. That is to die for. I'm not sure where else. Anyways, there's those three places anyway.
But that gives us a good start at least. Braden Lange, you'll buy yourself a car. I'm not 100% sure it's what's being talked about, but I'm assuming they're talking about Legend Cars in Yarmouth. So yes, Braden caught on. Steve MacPhee says JP loves Toronto.
Steve MacPhee has no idea what he's talking about. There's a guy we'd like to see at Lake Doucette. Is Braden Lange, the legend.
There you go. After his run on Sunday, I think that's the next place he's got to go. So maybe we can convince Robbie to bring that car down and do a couple of hot laps or something on Sunday.
Maybe we could.
Yeah, there you go. I know Robbie was thinking about doing other plans on Sunday, but maybe we've convinced him to change his plan. We'll have to talk about that one off air. Tony Claremont says bring down some stickers, and actually I think my stickers are still left in that 9-car trailer at that came down from Peterborough. So I don't even know if I have any left, but if we do, we will get you some. JP, this has been great. Thanks for being a part of the show. We will see you on Sunday. This is going to be fun. Can't wait for it.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks for having me.
That's JP Arsenault from the Southwest Stock Car Association. Really looking forward to Sunday, guys. And want to thank our crew that has put on this season. And Dylan, we mentioned these names on the last race that we did for Finale Friday and also the Saturday show at Scotia Speed World. I know we mentioned them in Miramichi as well, but those names on the screen, the hardworking crews that put on the Tim's Corner TV side of things, not including the race control side and promotions and whatever else, but there's some big names on that list.
It's a long list of people. I mean, you could go from the drivers. I mean, we need the drivers to be there or else we're not doing anything. But with the TCM crew, it's been so fun this year. And, we're coming to the bitter end here, but what a year it's been. And with all the track and crews, I know it was a long and very up and down year with the pandemic. But, we're looking to have some fun on the French Shore, down the valley this weekend. And then Sydney, I believe Miramichi's still going ahead next weekend for their spectacular. As of now, of course, everything is fluid with the COVID protocols in New Brunswick. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be closing out here pretty strong. So thank you to everyone who's had a part.
Yeah, the TV crew, by the way, we do have one race coming up on the TV side of things. It is the October 23 at Speedway Miramichi. I spoke with Barry yesterday. That will be a subscriber show. So if you have the TCM TV subscription, you will get that absolutely free of charge. If you don't have a subscription, you can pay for the event pass. And we are talking about doing the winter freeze as well in December. So if you have an active subscription to TCM TV on the date that we freeze them, you'll get the subscription for the rest of the winter. So you can enjoy some racing from 2020 and 2021 over the Christmas holiday, Valentine's Day, whatever. And we're talking to Pit Row TV and Tony Stevens about maybe adding some incentives to those subscribers as well. So busy winter, starting to ramp down a little bit though. So head over if you haven't seen any of the presentations that these hardworking folks have put on that are on your screen. Head over there and take a look at them. And but as you mentioned, still 3 races left on the Tim's Corner side of things. Heading to obviously the Lake Doucette this week. I'm going to cut some content down there. I'm going to cut some content hopefully in Sydney. Still working with Lyndon to try to figure out what that looks like. And thank you to all our partners as well. And I know they're not all on this splash, because we've had a couple of extra ones. Adio Tire, Brent Enterprise, AE McKay Builders, among those plus that are on that screen there that help put on everything that we do. PPM Incorporated helped us out at the end of the season as well. Big thank you to everybody that helped put on everything that we do at Tim's Corner Motorsports and Tim's Corner TV. And we'll come back and do this all over again next week. Miramichi preview. We'll probably talk about Lake Doucette. We might have a Valley champion or two on there, and that's the next thing that we're looking at right now, Dylan, is champion shows. We've got the TCM Best of Awards coming up. The deadline for the most popular driver and the deadline for the best looking car is at the end of the month. 84 nominations so far for most popular drivers. So head over to timscorner.ca, hit that awards link. You can go there and check out the most popular driver, put in your favorite for their chance to win. 10th anniversary season on that. We're looking at building a trophy as well through Plasma Works Metal Arts. So there's that as well. Robbie wants to know if we're doing TV at Sydney on October 30th. That would be a Lyndon McDougall question. So get a hold of Lyndon, let them know that you want to see some TV on there, and we might be able to figure something out. But that's we'll get to that as we continue to go on. But Dylan, I know you're excited for Valley Raceway to close off the season. No points, but King of the Dirt, right?
King of the Dirt. So we haven't been taking points this year just because we only got a few races in. So we're going to have our regular races still with checkered flags on the line. And as far as I know, King of the Dirt, which is kind of like our little crown jewel race we have at the end of the year, going to be a little bit different this year because we didn't have points. Typically, we would take the top three in our top three divisions and put them all together and have kind of a for fun 4-cylinder race. But this year, I believe they're just going to let all drivers on track at the same time. So we could be seeing Rick Balser race Nathan Langell.
Oh, so you're saying 4 cylinders and 8 cylinders at the same time?
4 cylinders, 8 cylinders, modifieds, trucks, all on the track at the same time.
Demolition vans?
No demolition vans.
Oh,
let's go, Nate. Nate's gonna win the race.
As far as I understand, that was the chitter chatter, and it would be a 30-lap race with a halfway break, just to kind of let the cars cool off for a couple of minutes or any last-minute adjustments you want to make. For the prestigious King of the Dirt title, I believe Justin Balser was the King of the Dirt in the modified 8-cylinder truck division last time. Shaden Wood was the King of the Dirt in 4-cylinder. So will we see a new king that has had the reign for about 2 years, or will we have someone completely new take the reign for 2021? We'll find out Sunday, 1 p.m. You can go to Valley Raceway's Facebook to keep up to date. I'd bring your documents. That's the way I'll put it. Just be safe, rather be safe than sorry. And we'll have some fun on Sunday at 1 p.m.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Looking forward to hearing what goes on there. And of course, we'll be at Lake Doucette to close off their season and put on a show. And the hospitality there is great. Same as Valley Raceway, but it's always great to make that trip down there to Lake Doucette. I know I missed the October 3rd show because we got rained out and had to run at Scotia Speed World. So I told those boys we'd be down there. And even with the Ricky Bobby, that was still the plan. Speaking of Ricky Bobby, I see Matt Martin has joined us. He's got a street stock for sale. I don't know if he sold it yet, but
he wants to trade for some dumb Honda that doesn't even turn on. So
he's trading for your Honda.
He's trying.
I didn't know you were going to run street stock. That's
I didn't either till
those are 4 more cylinders you can't get cranked over.
I know, that's the worst part.
It's terrible. But we're gonna have to get Matt on the show here at some point again here in the next little bit because as with the championships canceled or the championship finale canceled, BJ Gillespie, that was a fun time heading into Speed Weekend, chatting with earlier in the season, chatting with those guys. Alexander Oblinas, Riley Goodwin, winning those championships up at 660. So congratulations. We're planning on doing some champion shows as we work forward in the winter. But this has been great, Paul. I know you're busy coming up the next couple of moments. What do you got on the go for Vidane TV?
Yeah, we've got Loose Lugs Racing League kicking it off here at Nashville Super Speedway in about 20 minutes or so, taking the green flag. Going to be able to check that out on Vidane TV, a little multi-league Cup Series action tomorrow night, and then Monday back with the Trans-Service Cup Series with Sim 500, getting ready to crown ourselves a couple of champions coming up in the first and second weeks here of November, and then we're picking things up with the winter months, heading into the Tim's Corner Motorsport stuff. I've got the whole schedule of events kind of penciled into the old Google Calendar. Really excited for that. We got NEPS this week as well. NEPS was last night. They're off for 2 weeks, and then they're coming back 2 Tuesdays from now. So lots of stuff coming up, and do have to take just a quick moment. Saw the post on Facebook about 20 minutes ago. The champ, New England, Pennsylvania, iRacing champion, John Peters, one of the Oxford, or one of the main drivers, racing a long time, just got engaged. So congratulations to John Peters.
Yeah, congratulations to John. John's been a friend of us here for a while and won the TCM 300 last year. So for those that are wondering, how did Brent Roy do last night? Because I was busy. I have to choose my words right. I was busy on the Coke Series broadcast. How did Brent Roy do last night?
I think he did he was 82nd, I think, when it was all said and done. So
Out of 23.
Yeah, out of 23. So he didn't do very well.
26th in a 23 car field. I understand how that works. But yeah, we're going to open signups for the TCM 300. They were supposed to be open a couple of weeks ago. They'll be open on Friday for those guys that have raced with us the last season or so to get their numbers reserved and what have you. Open to the general public coming up next week. And it's going to be a week of racing per se to open up that schedule. We've got some meetings to take care of on the other end to figure all that other stuff out, but it'll be carried at least the first little bit on Verdane TV leading up to the 300 on Friday, November 19th to really kick off the season. But with Neps off, we might have to throw together a little bit something on one of those off weeks. I know Tanton Woolridge and all those guys have been chomping at the bit. Brandon, did you get in their race on Sunday?
No, my computer's still broken.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
But I'm in that little Facebook group with all those crazy Islanders. I see Jesse Leclerc's getting on iRacing. I told him if he thought real life racing was expensive, he's gonna love sim racing.
Oh, there you go. He had he didn't have a decent season. The demo went well at Oysterbed with his roof ornament that he had.
Yeah, he had the same season I had. He finished a few more laps, but yeah, a rough year for him. I guess that's what I get for buying a car with number 46 on it.
Well, sometimes that happens.
It works for Ryan Mcknight, just not the rest of us, I guess.
Well, 99 works for everybody else too, except for you. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Hope to see you Sunday at Lake Doucette. Dylan, good luck. All the best at Valley Raceway. I know Denver is watching, so want to say all the best to him on whatever he's doing. Like, what do you do in the fall if you're not racing?
School, if you're Denver.
Well, I know he's doing school, but I'm sure Meredith's going to be there, so it's like spooky season. Are they like picking apples or watching the leaves fall, or like what are they?
Oh no, the leaves don't fall. They're still tied, Tim.
Yeah, okay.
They watch Matt Martin's TikToks. What they do.
Yes, yeah. I almost got TikTok on the weekend, but we might.
You gotta get on it, man.
Yeah. Well, between Megan Perrott and Destiny Tucker, they've been at me the last season to get on that. So maybe, just maybe, it might be this weekend. We're coming up on the top of the hour, so we will get ready to get to the racetrack this weekend. Head over to Verdane TV and check out some sim racing, and we'll have more information on our season coming up a little bit later on as well. And oh, by the way, the IWK 250 was announced for 2022 as well. We're getting all the news all coming in here in the last little bit. It's been fun. This flew by. Get out to Lake Doucette, get out to Valley Raceway this weekend. Enjoy some great racing. For the whole TCM crew, Brandon Campbell, Dylan Langell, my name is Tim Terry. We will see you next week when we say let's go racing. Until then, keep the hammer down. We'll see you at the track.
Go Leafs!